Hi, this is Javin Karo, a chemical engineer by profession, going to continue our today's topic evaporation. Now, what is evaporation is that evaporation transfer of heat that occur when water changes from a liquid into a gas. Metabolic rate, amount of energy consumed minus the amount of energy extended by the body. Radiation transfer of heat via infrared waves. Now, what is process of evaporation heat? Evaporation happens when liquid substance become a gas and water is heated. It evaporates, the molecule move and vibrate so quickly that they escape into atmosphere as molecule of water vapor. Evaporation is very important part of the water cycle. Now, is evaporation a conduction or convection? No. Conduction, convection and radiation refer the transport of energy carrier such as phenomena or electron for conduction, bulk atom and molecule flow for convection and photon for radiation. These three mechanisms transfer heat by evaporation simply require heat to occur. Now, what is energy transfer by evaporation? Evaporation and boiling during evaporation particle with enough energy can escape the liquid as gas unless energy is transferred from surrounding while heating. The liquid gradually become colder. Boiling happens when enough energy is transferred. The substance evaporates as fast it can. Now, what is heat evaporator? Heat transfer equipment evaporator. Evaporation is the removal solvent and vapor from a solution. Aim is to concentrate a non-volatile solute such organic compound, inorganic salt, acid, waste from solvent. The driving force for atmosphere motion, sun and particular uneven distribution of solar radiation across the earth. It is primary job for atmosphere redistribute energy order to achieve balance from pole to equator. We need understand method heat exchange in atmosphere to appreciate how thin atmosphere keep us alive. Energy is ability or capacity to do work same from the matter. Now, there are several forms of energy include potential energy is the energy which body possesses a consequences of position, gravitational field, example water behind a tap. Kinetic energy is the energy which body possesses a consequences of motion, wind blowing across wind generator. It depends upon object mass and velocity, moving water versus moving air. Internal energy is the total energy, potential and kinetic stored in molecule. Heat or thermal energy is a kinetic energy due to motion of atom and molecule. It is energy that process being transferred from one object to another because of their temperature differences. Now, radiant energy is the energy that propagates through space or through material media in form of electromagnetic radiations. Now, the first law of thermodynamics states that energy lost during one process must equal energy gained during the another. Latent heat is the heat energy required to change the substance one state to another. There are basically three states of matter solid, liquid, and gas. The difference between them is the molecules are arranged. Solid have tightly packed molecules, liquid are still bound together but not strongly enough to keep them from flowing, and gas molecules are free flowing, not bound to other at all. Energy is required to change from one state to another because bond must be loose and broken, tightened and made. Energy must be given to molecule bond are loosened and broken and taken the molecule if they are to be tightened for made. Energy is required. Change from solid to liquid liquid to gas evaporation or solid to gas sublimation, energy will be released, change from liquid to solid fusion and gas to liquid condensation or gas to solid. Now, latent heat of evaporation is the energy used to change liquid to vapor. Important thing is the temperature does not change during the process, so heat add goes directly changing the state of substance. About 600 calories of energy are needed every gram of water room temperature. This is why cool you can step out to shower. Heat is taken from your skin to evaporate the water on your body. Now, evaporation is the cooling process. Latent heat of condensation is energy release when water vapor condenses to form liquid droplet. An identical amount of calorie, about 600 calorie per gram, release process as well needed in evaporation process. It is the one mechanism how thunderstorms maintain their intensity as moist air is lifted and cooled. Water vapor eventually condense, which allow huge amount of latent heat energy to be released, feeding the storm. Condensation is warming process. Latent heat of fusion describe both changing from solid to liquid and from liquid to solid. Now, from solid to liquid, about 80 calorie per gram needed. From liquid to solid, about 80 calorie per gram is released. Latent heat of sublimation describe both changing from solid to gas and gas to solid. Sublimation is rare compared to other changes of state from solid to gas. 600 plus 80 is equal to 680 calorie per gram needed from gas to solid. 680 calorie per gram are released. Now, is evaporation form a sensible heat transfer? No. An example, sensible heat transfer is the use fin fan, air cooler and cool side stream from petroleum distillation column down to temperature at which they can store a tank, intermediate and immediate for further processing or for blending them into final product stream. Heat by evaporation is what type of heat transfer? Answer is the process called vaporization or evaporation. Generally vapor pressure above the liquid. The heat of vaporization called enthalpy of vaporization is the heat required to induce the phase change. Evaporation cooling occurs when moisture is turned back into gas. During condensation, latent heat is produced, creating increased lift in that column of air. The lead thunderstorm of air is much cooler than normal. In a stable atmosphere, warm air rises, cool then settle and eventually back down the ground. Heat transfer from one place to another called convection. The product is losing sensible heat while the air is gaining the same amount. Neither undergo phase change, just temperature change is sensible. Now, what is difference between evaporative and convective heat transfer? Answer is we hear about conduction, convection and radiation. Now we seldom hear about the fourth means of heat transfer is evaporation. In a way, it's from conduction and convection. Heat is conducted throughout the water. Nearby surface, some of the molecule of water gain enough energy to escape surface tension of the water. From that point, the kind of forced convection that take the vapor away. A kettle of water boiling on stove and become a boiled water escape a kettle. Remove that so effectively when water in kettle can't exceed 100 degrees centigrade means 212 degree Fahrenheit. The base of kettle itself can't rise in temperature much more than that. In fact, you can boil water in a paper bowl, not plastic. The paper will brown but won't burn as long. There are still water on the side away from the flame. There are another way heat transfer by amazing effectively. It is called heat pipe. Imagine that you are holding of 1 each copper bar 1 foot long. You can hold in one end and your friend is applying blowtorch to the other end. The 20 to 30 second you will be have dropped the rod because of it is too hot or to hold. Now imagine 1 inch diameter copper pipe that end are sealed inside. The pipe coating will be wall area. It is weakening material that is saturated with water. If you hold, you have your friend apply the blowtorch to the other end. You will almost immediately have to let go of your end of the pipe. As soon torch touches the copper, heat quickly transfers through the copper wall of the pipe. The started boiling the water out of the wicking material. The steam travel rapidly to the cold end pipe were condensed onto the wicking material saturated with water. The transferring heat from torch onto the copper and through it onto your hand. When water is wicking material, wicks its way to hot end and replace lost water there. Now here, how effective type of heat transfer? One each heat pipe transfer heat the same rate 9 foot diameter copper rod does that 9 feet in diameter means 2.7432 meter, not 9 inches, 9 feet. The rate of heat transfer 36,644 times read through 1 each solid copper rod. Copper transfer the heat quite quickly as heat pipe put it same for all particle purpose. This is almost instantaneous heat transfer. So anytime you have boiling evaporating heat is taken away more efficient than the other ones. Radiation does not speed up light, but the sources doesn't get rid heat by radiation that quickly. It's only once it does not radiate heat away that is travel quickly the way they provide. This is put a blowtorch on a cast iron skillet. You can make a skillet glow red and possibly melt between the conduction, radiation and heat can't be removed. Red being applied. Radiation doesn't remove heat, all passed, but water is same skillet and the delay conduction from the flame through the cast iron. Once there are 1,100 degrees centigrade is the highest temperature the side of skillet can get. Heat is removed as fast as it is being applied. Now, how does vaporization include both boiling and evaporation? Evaporation is usually associated, say loss of water vapor, liquid and air based on vapor pressure, that temperature and atmospheric pressure. Boiling occurs, boiling point 220 degree Fahrenheit, water with rapid vaporization of water that depend on heat applied to water, say in a pot or breaker. Now, does evaporation release absorb energy? Evaporation is an endothermic process. Now, some liquid plus energy equal to some of the gas. Energy is absorbed. Now you can remember by getting your hand wet and waving them around. Do your hand feel warmer or colder? They feel colder, right? The water is absorbing energy. Now, does evaporation come under heat transfer process? Yes, it can come under transfer of heat process. Now, however, evaporation doesn't have the specific temperature which it occur even at room temperature, so does not mistake with boiling. Evaporation doesn't require specific heat source like Bunsen burner or anything. It can happen from exposed surface. Now, what are the situations where simultaneous heat and mass transfer occurs? In open system, there are heat as well as mass transfer. When we boil water in a vessel, if we want cover it with a lid, then there will be heat exchange. At the same time, we can see the water level in the vessel goes down, so the liquid is converted to vapor and escape, so the mass of water decreases. But if we cover the vessel with lead, there will be heat exchange, but the mass will not change because after some time, when it cools down, there will be condensation and we can get back the water which was in vapor form. So conclusion is that the open system heat and mass transfer occurs simultaneously. Now, heat by evaporation is type of heat transfer. Heat by evaporation is a type of heat transfer known latent heat transfer or phase change heat transfer. This type of heat transfer occurs when substance changes its phase from liquid to gas and absorb or release heat as a result. In the case of evaporation, heat energy is absorbed from the surrounding in order to break the intermolecular bond holding the liquid molecule together and transform into the gas. As a result, evaporation can be used to cool down a system or object. The absorbed heat energy is removed from the surrounding. Does evaporation release or absorb energy? Yes, it depends on temperature around. Think about taking pressure of room with a glass of water. Inside the pressure goes down. This water evaporates and doesn't absorb the release energy. Certainly another motion of element. It moves faster before because the pressure doesn't force it to stay quiet. Okay guys, this is up to today's our topic evaporations. I hope you get sufficient knowledge after watching this video. Next Sunday we have covered some another chemical engineering topic. Still then, goodbye. Do take good care of yourself.